shucks. Anyways, what up, Schmoedown rockers? I'm liking the new Z1000. I've had literally a week, given I'm a patron. I literally a week to soak this in. So far, to a certain degree, Z-Man, now the Z1000, living up to some of Smeds' hype, I guess you could say. Or at least he's made up for his one loss, even though I think his main goal is he finally will get at least a chance to have Kalinowski one-on-one, which is what it's going to happen. I think that's part of the reason to exactly why we're getting that on Patreon, him and Greg Alba on Patreon first, because that's kind of a one-sided expected thing, and though I think maybe it'll wind up being a little more surprising if Alba actually does pull it off. But I don't expect Kalinowski to, not wind up taking his loss. Hell, he's yet to defend a belt, by the way. He's maybe the first person to have 2 title reigns, but he's never defended it once. Same with Roca. Up until the team's belt, in terms of singles at least. And he could make up for that if he does wind up beating Merle and does wind up defending it at least once. He can say that he has in his 3 title reigns. We'll see what happens, and if Merle is still top tier, we shall see. Oh boy, when it comes to singles, it seems the Finstock Exchange knows what they're doing. Teams is not really sure on that just yet. I don't even think they've done anything teams-wise. Well, then again, that's not true. I mean, of course, there's founding fathers with the team's belts, but anyways, I don't know. But anyways, don't know shit. Lucky I know some shit. But anyways, but it seems that when it comes down to it, hopefully it's just the fact that Gucci just don't know what to do with Emily Rose Jacobson. Or he just does not know how to... or he just doesn't have the woman's touch. Or at least the kind that Emma knew how... That a woman herself, in Emma at least, in Emma Fyfe, was able to do and accomplish. Even though that's really more just... Even though technically... it's more a steady regimen, I guess she must have instilled upon... through Clark Wolf and Rachel Cushing, to which they have established through other means. It's still a shame, because it seems like Usual Suspects or Koi Genre would be better suited for her anyway, managerial wise. And given that the Jackass BC could have been a contender and never really established anything and chose to leave instead of Emily, was that really the best decision? I mean, I wouldn't say drop her so much as trade her. I'm not saying that she's a bad player, but it just doesn't seem like she's the only one that has never pulled out a win within the Finstock Exchange, or at least more so. Seems like she had shown a sense of actual improvement as a player when she was doing better. It seemed like, hell, despite her first win, which isn't much to talk about, her loss, at the very least, showed that in terms of gameplay, she had improved, regardless of for the most part. It's just the fact that Hannah was just that much of a better player. And it seems that she could have redeemed herself a little more against Hannah, but that just wasn't going to happen. And once again, she was at a similar situation that she wound up in. Going against Hannah, and got lucky with that one. She knows what she's doing. She has the knowledge to do it, and it's clear whatever her and Hlavik have been doing together may have worked more And, well, beneficial for the both of them, despite the fact that, well, Havoc had probably gained a loss against Barbarian, which she had even established in her talks in the Broker's reaction. She had talked, at least when she came in, she said her piece on some things, and it does bother me a little bit. She's not a bad player, I don't think. She's just as an IG player, she's kind of been in this similar funk that it seems that Janine overall seems to wind up always stuck in post her debut match. Where she is great, it's just that when it comes to certain times within those round 3 questions, and in the case of her recent match against Humphrey, it seems she just wasn't studied up on the DCEU, which cost her that match completely. That category completely cost her that match. Especially, or at least the questions within the category just cost her the match. Whether it be, especially given the fact it was her one loss in the round 1 match, she fell behind in a round 2 because that was the category she wound up being given, or at least having to take because it was her second spin, and then all that other stuff. But when it comes down to what happened here with Emily Rose Jacobson, and I do think that there are other road actors who've said similar things that I'm about to say. Don't get me wrong, he is weak in it, but you did, and I'm trying to figure out when this was recorded, because if it was recorded around the same time as Lord of the Rings, then maybe she didn't know that. But if that wasn't the case, then she should have researched at least that exhibition, since it is public on YouTube of the exhibitions. That and the Battle of the Champions have been public. Like, they are not unlisted like most of the other exhibitions so far this year. Or most exhibitions, anyway, that haven't been released publicly. At least not during that 1 year before that was around the time frame they had been on Collider, still on Collider, and were transitioning away from Collider and basically on the Schmoedown channel before turning it into the Schmoedown channel, and then eventually it becoming now as it is the Schmoedown Entertainment Network. Which, I mean, around that time frame of that year. That's about the only time the exhibitions have been public. But that's it. Most of the time they're unlisted. But anyways, my point being, if she had known and seen that, especially given 2 members of the dungeon that are IGE players, one having the belt, the other more likely possibly going to wind up getting it, which is why I'm fingers crossed hoping that Smets retains against Chandra, and I feel bad for Chandra if he can't win it, but it's not like he won't eventually get it in the future. Just personally, I want to see Smets be the first person in a long time to retain a belt, because we haven't seen that in a while, and Smets is the kind of player I believe he can, despite the way the Lord of the Rings match turned out. But that's just one category, and it's not like he's shown in especially last year, for the most part, that he can dominate in most other categories. Even it's just all the other players, especially one that usually isn't dominant. Hell, I've yet to see, which is why if they do another MCU exhibition, I'm hoping that particular player does show up, and I think he's in one of the. I'm trying to remember which one he's on now, team-wise. I'm surprised he hasn't shown his face in IG lately, or in the bracket. That's kind of what bums me out with that. But anyways, or maybe he'll show up himself as singles. I don't know, but the blame I'm blanking on escapes me. I apologize. He won the MCU exhibition. If you're that's why I'm forgetting. I know he used to be a part of the second version, the second incarnation of Superhero News. Why am I forgetting his name right at the moment? Because I guess he hasn't been as involved, so it just kind of. But anyways, stuff like that. But my point being with her, everyone knows when it comes down to it that they picked that not thinking about the fact that, both of them knew the Lord of the Rings. We're in that Lord of the Rings match, and Parker, of course, being the one that took even Damon to the limit, which, I mean, that's where Hannah's gonna have to really prove himself if he can beat Damon, because he's already, despite these past couple wins, haven't exactly been top tier players that he's beaten. And he has missed before. Has made sure since that he hasn't missed since that live event. But it's not like he hasn't not won a match though. In a long time, he hasn't not won a match for about 2.5 years. The question is who's going to take him out of the tournament, if anyone can, at this point. Sorry, shaking my BCAAs, sweet tea flavored, really good. Amino, what was it? Amino Core is the brand thing I think it was that this is made up from. But anyways, if you're curious, sweet tea's great flavor. Just having that alone at least is nice. But anyways, the match has been, it's just been awesome, guys. I'm so happy for Zip. I'm a happy Dungeon Head. I eventually plan on getting that shirt. I'm going to have it as a backup plan anyway, in case if somehow Smash does lose Chandra, I'm going to have to do it again, because it worked last time. If I have to do it again, I will. Even though part of it partially has nothing to do with it, but simultaneously it works. It happened. And speaking of that, anyone who's seen him referencing that particular Schmoedown rocks, he's not wrong. I don't know if I want anybody else to really see it now, because given how I was with Brienne's comments at the time of that video, I don't know if I would have handled any other hate. But or at least back then. I don't know about now, but we'll see how that goes. Shit. I probably need to put that in. We'll see how that goes. But anyways, sorry for the long pauses. I suck at editing too, so you're gonna have to deal with this shit. But anyways, Z1000 is gonna start being on a tear. Question is, can this Z1000 finally knock out KO? And he's got a TKO to him from this match, and it's mostly because it seems Emily Rose Jacobson she hasn't been playing. The way she played is almost reminiscent of what kind of happened in that match with Winston. It's almost kind of scary. And Zipper's missed a couple questions, so I don't know if he can pull it off against Kalinowski. I hope he can. Or at least, depending on which Kalinowski's facing. If this is the Kalinowski that wound up beating Smets at Collision, then we're screwed. That wound up facing Smets at Collision, or that not only faced Smets, but also wound up facing Rachel in the first ever Schmoedown Throwdown match. Schmoedown Throwdown. That. Kalinowski, Zipper may be fucked. I hope to be wrong, but given how he's played, though it definitely a massive improvement, I don't know if it was as good as the singles match level, but if he can play maybe even closer to how he played in the singles match, in his singles matches, or well, more so, but I guess it's kind of close to this anyway, but I don't know. I hope he does. I'd love for it to be the Dungeon miracle that we need, But I can accept, because given what he's accomplished, I can accept to a degree Kalinowski beating Zip. I may not be happy about it, but I'm going to have to accept it. Even he's a two-time champ, and his accolades makes it more acceptable. But if he can but I would love for Zip to be able to pull it off and redeem himself, to play that level. He needs to. Though I see Parker having a better shot once he mows through everyone else. I think he might actually have a tougher road too to proving himself, especially with Goddard being undefeated. Not to mention facing someone else that's of the fan leagues that has already proven himself in IG, or at least despite his loss to Hannah, or at least managing to go toe-to-toe with Hannah, because both of them have their times in the fan leagues, and I figured them two, it would wind up going down to them two anyway. I wish that one girl would come back, and I think if she does, she should, I'd be not so surprised her joining Corruption, given that she responded most quickly in that Facebook group. Dude, my one thumbnail that I had with her doing the same thing, it was fun. It was fun to make that one. I was surprised I pulled that one off too. But yeah. But yes, other than that, the Star Wars match with Andrew Dumalate was great. And Molly Damon was pretty solid. Granted, things like the whole absolute and absolutes thing, I'm surprised they let it slide. Light on him, honestly. And it could have been still a different game. And if he missed that one question, yikes. I don't think we'd be talking the same thing if he was going to be in that same position, because he never got to answer his 3 and his 5. Though he had that one issue, but he was able to get back into the game. And he wound up of the two, and somehow they accepted it. And he probably shouldn't have had that or gotten to the bonus question, which he proved he was the only one who was able to get it anyway, but either way, there was a couple things. That one was one that most people didn't realize, and that was a controversy, or at least once pointed out, it was considered controversial. But this just goes to show that that's why it would have been much better in studio with people on the desk that actually knows and understands Star Wars, like the AppSock, who at this point, it's better off getting him instead of just having it just be Mark and Christian most of this time. But yeah, because they should have just, now they could just get Knapsack back on there. If they can get Knapsack back on to at least do stuff like this, even through this means, I hope they can. Because he'd do a better job of keeping tabs on this crap better, anyways, so now that he's no longer in the tournament, and more likely he just wants to focus on doing that, and maybe he'll manage again, who knows. But anyways, though, given what has happened, it's probably going to be what we had as the rematch from last season. This is the number 1 contendership going into Spectacular, more than likely, unless Ace can pull the upset. But for the most part, it's more than likely our finals is going to basically be, although then it was Luminous, now it is Lights Out, Laura Kelly. Somehow Lights Out, she's something up at her. It's like she gained a glow all of a sudden. I'm not kidding. Not kidding. She pulls it off. Her real self has a certain glow to her that she just pulls it off quite well, and it just looks good for her. Who'd have thunk? You'd think it'd be the opposite, given how the Sith are usually. Not this case, unless. But anyways. And given the challenges within that match, and then the steals with that, and it wound up becoming tied going into that, and it probably wouldn't have been tied, and it would have been him having to answer his 2-pointer or 3-pointer or whatever, given circumstances. So who knows? Maybe Dumalanta might not have had that chance because of stuff like that. Who knows what would have happened with that? But regardless, we now have Dumalanta because of that, and which basically sucks because now we have to wait for the usual suspects are out of the tournaments up until singles and teams start up. And the Inner Geekdom, it seems both them and Swag are currently also the only ones that haven't gotten anywhere in those leagues, and are going to have to hope that things pick up for them in singles and teams. And Finstock Exchange, up until like maybe semifinals, we'll see how Barbarian is if he misses, or if something happens with Parker. That's the only one where I might have trouble where I think Parker may have the most trouble, because I do believe he'll probably wind up beating Ellison. At least I hope, because at least it'll be an interesting neck and neck, and that redemption can be put up on both sides between, whether or not if Zipper winds up losing to Kalinowski, or and then Ellison losing to Parker. It could be redemption for their factions once it gets to that finals. It'd be very interesting, depending on whether or not because he's going to have a much harder road, because it's more than likely after Ellison he'll have Barbarian. Most likely. But if it winds up being Humphrey, I'd be very, very surprised. And if that is the case, well, I don't know what happened, Barbarian, but yeesh. Because I do think you're going to make it at least to the finals. You could beat Parker, but I think Parker will win. For sure. Like most people. Because I have the same faith that Parker will go through this tournament in the same way that I have faith in him. And Ellison Yama was a solid match. I loved even the intro going into this of the promos. I would definitely listen to that on Spotify, unless apparently I got to have premium just to find it and get to it and let it play the stuff for me. Their stuff for me, which sucks to begin with, though. I'll figure something out with that, I guess. I don't know, but one of these days. Anyway, I really did enjoy these matches. My predictions. The Goddard thing is going to be tougher. I personally do expect Parker to win. Yes. Should he sleep on Goddard? No, I wouldn't. And I think he knows that too. Especially since they both were in that Lord of the Rings match. And he thinks he's at his confident boost because he survived Smets when Smets just should have answered the question the way he was thinking it. And then I don't know why he did that to him. It's like, dude, it's like, just shut up. It's an exhibition. You won't have to worry about that on this time around. Oh boy. But yeah, he almost screwed over Smets too. I'm like, fucker. I'm like, motherfucker. Damn it, Spider. I'm with Smets on this one. When it came to that match. But it was him and Damon going at it, and they both luckily missed. Before that other one. Oh, jeez, hold on. Oh, I'm getting dizzy. I don't know if I need to drink some more. Oh, shit. But anyways. Oh, yes. Sweet victory. Happy from a Z-Man. I do think Emily and them, they picked Middle Earth for that reason, and plus, because of the opponent's choice, but I think that was a bad choice, personally. Because of that, and I think that Who Said It would have been a better choice. Because every IG player has been known to have that as a weakness, and that should have been his choice, and it would have been a different story. Zipper wouldn't be as ahead as he is, and Middle Earth is not exactly proven that it's not exactly a weakness, and he knows, and with the right training from the right people, he knows his stuff. He can know his stuff with that, even if it's not technically a strength, and basically he won by TKO because she couldn't answer because he was far enough that she had to answer all the questions anyway. So luckily it just worked out in his favor for him. Part of it was luck as well, and I didn't expect much from Emmons Jacobson given the Damon match, but so overall, yeah, we'll see how the final two matches coming up here are in singles, and then of course also the final semi-final of that match, and then of course we'll have the following week from this week we'll have our final. We'll hopefully get what our finals match will be of the Star Wars match. Well, our Star Wars tourney finals, and then we'll have our round 2 starting up in IG. And then I think at some point they're going to plan on doing singles. Maybe they'll start it on Twitch, and then they'll eventually start bringing it about, because it's a lot of people, so more than likely they'll try to fit in what they can for the round 1s once they get to, I guess they're going to finish the IG tournament matchups or on for YouTube and then start airing those, I guess, there. I don't know if the plan is to have them all on the Twitch matches and try to hurry up and premiere all the other ones so everyone on YouTube can catch up. By that point, even though anyone who catches up with reactions like mine or far better will tell you otherwise. So yes, other than that, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed most of this week. Would I have liked Oyama to kind of win this one a little bit? But he has proven he can. It just didn't work in his favor. But he did put up enough of a fight that it was a dang good match. I wouldn't say it was as good as the singles match, as the singles match one they had, but it was still a dang solid match, as we were hoping and expecting from them. So, good luck, Chance. We'll see if that I Am Legend question finally shows and rears its ugly head. We'll see what happens. I'll think about it. But anyways, what did you guys think of the matches? Leave a comment below. Let me know. As always, guys, keep it. Yeah, screw it. We're gonna do the old one. Keep it random. Keep it real. Keep it rocking. If you smell what the movie trivia Schmoedown rocks. It's coming entertainment. And so on and so forth is cooking. What you gonna do? What you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do when the movie trivia Schmoedown runs wild on you? Ooh, yeah. Dig it?